Teacher Pricks, I finished my basic practice. I have been studying English for quite some time. What do I need to do next to unlock my English and feel more confident, understand people in English? Well, watch this video and learn the next 5 things you should do for your English fluency success. Coming up. Hey student, I am Teacher Pricks and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Well, this is the lesson for you if you want to find ideas to help you keep going so that you can unlock your English and finally speak English with confidence, understand native speakers, remember the words you study, because I know sometimes it can get a little frustrating when we don't know what to do next. Now, guys, if you finished your basic studies, you've already been studying English for at least 6 months, it is time. That's the first thing. It is time to eliminate your native language. And what do I mean by that? I will explain. When students start their journey to fluency, they use their native language. They may watch some lessons in their native language. They may write all the explanations in their native language. But that can be a problem in the future. Because if you focus all your practice on writing information about English in your language, studying things in your language to learn English, then it'll be more difficult for you to put into practice the information you study because you will do a lot of mental translation. So now, if you've already gotten the basics, if you can understand this video, that's very important. This video is not for everybody, okay? If you can understand this video, then the first thing you gotta do to be successful on your journey to fluency, the next 5 things, that's the first one. You gotta eliminate your native language. Because as you unlock your English, as you keep learning more new information, you will realize that there's a lot of vocabulary in English that you are able to understand an explanation, but you may not have an actual translation. It'll be more difficult for you to find a translation. And if you keep doing this work of studying in your language, translating to your language, you will never practice describing things in English, explaining things in English. Thinking in English will get more difficult, because all your work is in your native language. So you gotta start eliminating your native language. So watching this video is already a great start. You're already eliminating your native language because I am speaking in English. So these are small things that you need to start doing. Maybe on your journal, when you write on your notebook, don't write in your language anymore. Write only in English. When you watch another YouTube video, another channel, focus on listening to videos in English, explanations in English. By doing that, you will be unlocking your English and improving your chances of becoming a successful English speaker. The second thing that you're going to do is to start following a paraphrasing routine. Paraphrasing is a very powerful technique, and it's basically what every fluent English speaker does. Fluent speakers understand that fluency is communication, not perfection. Because they know that, they realize and they accept the fact that they will not always know the words. There are words that we don't know. So what happens in a conversation and you're like, oh, I don't know how to say that. What do I do? You paraphrase. But paraphrasing is a technique that needs to be improved. But if you've never done that before, it may be a little challenging. But if you never do it, how do you improve? How do you become a successful English speaker who can understand and talk to people anywhere, anytime? So paraphrasing is an exercise that will require explanation instead of translation. Okay, Priscilla, but how can I start using paraphrasing? Well, start with words you already know in English, okay? Basic words, house, car, keys, and describe those words in English. How would you describe this word to a child in English? Think that way. Oh, okay, how can I simplify, make it simple, simplify my explanation to someone in English? Describing something silly, a mouse, okay? How do I do that? That's how you start paraphrasing. Then as you keep going, you can go to more difficult words. Oh, okay, how am I going to explain this? How am I going to explain that? Something more difficult. And then the next step will be, okay, I don't know how to say this word in English. Opportunity to paraphrase. How can I explain it to someone so that if I am in a conversation, the person listening to me can understand and help me find the word I'm looking for or understand what I need, because that's usually what happens. That's paraphrasing. That's the next step you have to follow for your English fluency success. Number 3, you gotta work on intonation and pronunciation consistently. I understand, as a beginner, there are many things. There's so much information. You're learning verb to be, and many students are afraid of verb to be. You're learning simple present, questions. Oh, there's so much information. It may be difficult to spend some time working on pronunciation and intonation more consistently. Maybe you checked a new word, you saved on your phone, but you never really took the time to master the pronunciation of that word. Maybe until now you haven't really worked on specific sounds like the T8, the schwa, or any other sound that may be different from your native language. In Brazil, we speak Portuguese, and there are some sounds in English that we don't really have in Portuguese. So you gotta spend some time working on pronunciation and intonation mastery. This is the next step, guys. You wanna talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime, you gotta spend a little time working on pronunciation and intonation. And there are many sources on the internet for you to do that. For my students in my academy, for example, in the vocabulary part, they listen to the words, the pronunciation of the words. In the reading part, they get to listen to the article they have to read, to study, to work on pronunciation. In the listening part, they have the transcript and the audio file for them to listen and work on pronunciation. So I'm always finding ways to teach my students in my academy how to work on pronunciation and intonation. Not to mention specific lessons that I give them inside my program to work on difficult sounds, to work on linking sounds, because native speakers connect, they link sounds all the time. So how are you going to improve your comprehension? It's not just listening. You gotta work smart and learning specific lessons about pronunciation and intonation. So you gotta include that, okay? It's not just about learning a bunch of words or listening to an audio file for an hour and that's your routine. No, you wanna be successful, you wanna unlock your English like a key, tick, tick, unlock your English. You gotta start changing your process. Before I tell you number 4, if possible, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because every week I bring different kinds of English lessons to help you become a better and more confident English speaker. Now, number 4, connect English grammar with English speaking. Probably when you were a beginner, you had some grammar lessons, you had to do a lot of exercises, depends on the program or course you took, or if you studied alone. That's usually our mentality. Let's do some exercise, then I'll improve, I'll get better. But now you have to do something else. You gotta change the game. So how about connecting grammar with English speaking? And here are some ideas. You can start by practicing creating questions and then answering your questions. That's grammar and speaking. You have to do this orally, even if you are alone, okay? You can also get some phrases in English. You can even Google this, okay? And agree, disagree. Oh, do you agree with this statement? Yes, no, why? By doing this exercise, you're practicing grammar because you have to explain yourself, and you're practicing your English speaking and your ability to agree and disagree and share your opinions with the world. What is your opinion? Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with that? Make a list of taboo subjects and think about how you would express yourself. That's grammar, guys, in a much more active way. It's not just about doing exercises. In my academy, I don't do that with my babies. That's how I call my students, babies. That's not how I do it with my babies. They have grammar, but they have lessons to help them better understand explanations and rules. But at the end of the day, in the other parts of the module, they use the grammar they're studying. That's a much more productive way to learn and use English grammar. Now, number 5. Number 5 is something that you have to do at some point in your life, okay? And I strongly recommend, which is to join an online program, Okay, even though you will be doing a self-study program by yourself studying, what I like about online programs is that you will be following guidelines, you will be following a schedule. Someone, a professional, will have chosen everything that you need to do. This person will give you the necessary activities so that when it's time to study, you know what to do, you know what not to do, you know a vocabulary to study, you know the strategies. This is what I do in my program. I have recently ended the registration for my program. I don't know when I'm going to open again. If you want to join a waiting list, click down below this video. In the description you can find a link where you register for a waiting list so that when I open again, you will be the first one to know. But I strongly believe that a good online program will teach you the necessary tools and strategies so that you can keep going and making the necessary changes on your practice, on your routine, so that you can unlock your English and be a better English speaker, understand things more easily, and boost your confidence. Because when you learn the right way, you start to see results. And because of that, your confidence level increases. There you have it. If you found value in this lesson, make sure to subscribe to my channel. But other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye!